Welcome to another episode of CL with LS. Let's see what we have here. This looks like the only... No, we have a few Div 1s not fighting other Div 1s. That doesn't matter too much in CL because everybody gets knocked around a bit. Let's see, here we have Subaru, who I usually think of as SS, and I'll probably just call him that, versus God himself. I'm actually fairly familiar with both these guys. SS is probably the best CL player on Delphi. It's either him or Zoop from what I've seen, and Zoop doesn't play much CL, so I think I have to give it to SS. SS is, I think, the only person I know for sure has a positive win rate all time versus me. I've only fought Zoop like twice, I think, so I think we're even. But let's see what we have here. Subaru on this side got himself over here as Saw. Subaru's always been Cannon. Tends away from stun and toward like defensive-oriented Spike. Tends to rely very heavily on the Vampire. God himself, I've not seen him play with this kind of formation before. When I saw him do CL before, he was actually using a gunner form, which this obviously is not. This is an okay form for CL. I don't like this side. I feel like he needs a better tank over here, especially without a vampire. I think that's really the main issue is the lack of a vampire. If he replaced the Hwoarang with a vampire, it would be much better overall. And he could do without this sheriff too, I think. I don't know what he should put there instead of it. Probably a champion, because you see the issue here is that he can't really damage SS in any significant way because well, see, he can try to snipe the Patriot or the Vampire, but that's problematic in both cases, because if you try to snipe the Patriot and you fail, the Patriot goes into Patriotic Resolve and becomes a big problem. And if you try to snipe the Vampire and you fail, it can Dusk Elegy and heal all that back, and even revive itself with that if you keep sniping it, which is what just happened here. And he was guarding the sheriff, so he wouldn't try to snipe the sheriff. Yeah, SS is really good, guys. Pay attention to what he does. With the stun pressure on the back, that's actually fairly unusual for SS, as I said, but canceling that scroll, it makes sense. And getting the stun on the main, that won't matter too much because he has the Patriot. He might be trying to force a camaraderie on the front, actually. No, but he does have the empowering control, so he just awakens the main. That's fine, forcing him to use that empowering control when he would have wanted to use it to heal the Hwoarang instead. Going for the main spike, this could actually be pretty interesting. Sealing the instrument, I really like this play from God himself, actually. He saw the weakness that presented itself from SS. I don't think he's gonna get the spike though. Yeah, especially that Odin's Chain. That probably is what saved SS, because he might have still gotten the spike if it hadn't been for that. Now he just has the Empress and the Patriot, and he can't empowering control because of the freezing atmosphere. So even if they both have enough AP for 2 shots, but they probably don't because they've been acting. Oh, he's going to. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I can see that. That's a good choice, especially since I think the Hwoarang has enough for 2 activations. No, going for the camaraderie, probably on the front. Yeah, well, that's GG. At least you try your luck. Yep. I kind of agree with SS there. That was his best chance, but it's gone now because the vampire is unsealed, so he can heal the main, and the main is no longer in any danger at all. So this is over completely, 100% over. I would actually arrest at this point. Yeah, is that okay? No, arrest the puppeteer. That makes more sense, I guess. Well, actually, no, because he's still gonna be. It doesn't matter, but I would have arrested the Patriot. Just oh, it doesn't have AP. Never mind, because it used camaraderie last turn. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that was a good call on that arrest. Okay. for your mistake. I don't really think it was a mistake so much as his only chance that he had, and it just didn't go through. Um, yeah, I mean, if there had been a vampire, it might have been a different story. Um, because he could still have put a lot of pressure on the front. Um, I don't know. SS is pretty good, but that was a you're a pain. Yeah, he owns pain. Hmm. Try to think what simple modifications you could make to this form. I really don't like the Attila because that's just a weak point where he can put pressure on it. I would change the Hwoarang to a vampire and the Attila to a champion, which would actually get you very close to the SS's form. Big surprise, CL forms tend to look the same because you need a very powerful tank, or actually three. You need at least two very powerful tanks, and you're better off if you have three. Because it's just so easy to spike in CL. And if you're going to use ranged, this is basically the way to do it. You have to have them either backline, or if they're midline, they have to be either like heavily buffed with Princess Order and what's it called, Battlefield Courage, or they have to be a vampire or a patriot, so that there's that discouragement to sniping them down because they have to snipe them down in one turn, and if they don't get them in that one turn, then they pay for it. As happened here. You know, that initial spike from God himself was probably not the right move. I'm not sure what he should have done instead. I would have preferred some kind of pressure, I think. Like well, he doesn't have a champion, but if he had a champion, I would have liked to see like a weapon rend or something like that on probably this side centered on the Elementalist, so it would catch the Patriot and the Valkyrie, since the Valkyrie is more likely to attack physically than the champion, and he couldn't catch both guns or one gun in the main anyway. So I would have liked to see, yeah, I think that's what I would have liked to see. But if champion's not as cheap as he used to be, so if he doesn't have one, I can see why he wouldn't do that. And I'm not sure it would have helped either. Okay, well that didn't work. uh, I've never played Saw in high level CL, but my impression of Saw in CL is that it kind of needs an Elementalist because it's so focused on damaging the front. And if you have a really strong front like SS had there, with Valkyrie and a champion, and either like another strong sword or a druid with a puppeteer to help it guard, or a main or something like that. If you have a very strong front like that, it's extremely difficult to break the front, even when you have a lot of front damage. Well, that's the only Div 1 match, so I guess we're gonna watch SS again, see other people struggle to beat him. I've thought a lot about why SS is so good, because I play him almost every time I play CL, and I lose to him probably 80% of the time. Actually, let me see if I don't think I have any recent wins against him because I'm staff now, and I hate staff in CL. Yeah, there's a loss. There's a loss. Okay, only twice recently. A lot of that's ABFL too. But yeah, I thought a lot about why SS is so good, and I think it's mainly composition. He doesn't really have inspired decision making in many cases. It's just very solid composition and solid decision making. It's not like Zoop, who pulls out something that nobody's ever seen. SS plays very standard and just it's very systematic. Just knows the correct response in every situation and pulls it off. And this current form that he has, I really like. With my only problem with it, and it's not really a problem. the Sheriff seems like a weak point, which is what Spear Devil BR is going for here. And I've never seen Spear Devil BR play CL before. I've only seen him in FL. He's decent in FL. I don't think he's... I've never seen him tier 0, I don't think, but he does very well in Div 1. Of course, he is level capped, and I think he's fairly high might. I don't have Patrol, and the graphics are on the lowest setting, so you can't tell. Is it? Okay, I was like, why does that have an evil lance? And it's because it's not 141 yet. But yeah, I think this form has a better chance against SS's than God himself did, because it has more pressure in the form of Flame Sphere on the main, obviously, and also the Vital Seal on the Taoist. But it also has more, well, not necessarily more reach, because it doesn't have the Hwoarang, but it has the General will help a lot with sniping down the range. But you see, Camaraderie on the back there saved him from that, but it was a good choice to one, try that spike, and two, to force him to do something like that, to force that Camaraderie, because it took some of the pressure off Spear Devil BR. And we see an HG cross-up, maybe? I never know what to call this. HG spread? I don't really think that was necessary. We weren't going to see any... Well, we might see a weapon rend, but the weapon rend would probably be on the side. Well, yeah, okay, I guess I like that. Yeah, that cross-up's fine. I would worry about wasting the Druid's AP like that, but it didn't really seem to cost him much. He's lost the Vampire now, though. And that's the thing about Cannon Main in CL. It has a lot of pressure it can put on a single point, and it doesn't. People don't expect it because it can't do that in FL the same way. And we're probably just going to see us. If he had the counters, he should have Force Prison and Flame Spirit and Vital Seal. You know, that old saying. Because if there is a weakness to SS's current formation, it's the only one source of HG, and he doesn't tend to quicken the back, and he doesn't have an Exorcist. So the Monk is kind of starved for AP. He just uses his own tremendous offense to take pressure off, and the Patriot's Camaraderie, as we just saw earlier there. So if there is a weakness to SS's form, it is that unsupported Monk, or fairly unsupported Monk. So we could see a... See, that's the problem with doing an HG cross, is that you get stuff like that. You leave that one front line open. Now we're going to see it. We're going to see Flame Sphere in the middle of Vital Seal. Yeah. Okay, no Flame Sphere? Okay. That's fine. Unless he has 2 activations on the main, which he probably doesn't. Green Dragon Strike. Yeah, that's fine. He's probably still going to lose that General. Actually, I would have just left the General out there, especially after doing Deadly Strike with it, because that just gives him a way to the back when he kills it. If he had killed it there, he would have had a solid just 2 rows here and no way to get to the back. Now he can, he could have arrested the Monk there instead of the Druid. But yeah, it's generally better not to have an open back, because this way, if he gets Force Prisoned, which he won't because that Druid's about to die, but I mean, just as a general principle, he has a line he can hit, and he has a I always do that, a column he can hit and a row he can hit. So it's better to have just the 2 rows, I think, unless you're facing, well, he is facing 2 guns, but I don't know. Okay, now the Flame Spear, after the main is HG'd, but yeah, I would have liked to see that last turn, but won't be too big a deal. He can kill the Druid, or he can get rid of this scroll. He's going to get rid of the scroll. That's the better choice, I think, because that scroll could have put the Monk up front. And if the Monk goes up front with a stun counter while it's on Camaraderie, you're probably going to lose. Well, you're going to lose both of those guns. Yeah, I think SS still has this. This has been good play overall from Spear Devil BR. Like I said, I think that was that was probably a mistake with the general, and it's hard for me to fully process what they're doing as I talk about it at the same time. But yeah, I think this has been fairly good play, but I think SS still has it, just because of, I mean, stuff like that damage output. Like you can't tell on the clock, but we're close to the end, and I just don't see a way for Spear Devil BR. That might be the end actually with him looting. No, he just didn't have AP to get another activation down here. Okay. Yeah, I just can't. There's no way for Spear Devil BR to kill enough mercs. It's just a damage race now, basically, and SS has more damage output left. Yeah, GG from Spear Devil BR. Time's probably about up. Yeah, GG from SS. Always good to see mutual, properly ordered GG. Loser says GG first, then winner says GG. Yeah, that was fairly well played. I would have liked to see less of that pressure on that side, even though he did eventually get line break with it, and more AP pressure in the middle and like forcing HGs. But what are you gonna do? Looks like we have one more in the league. Okay, Spear Devil BR. We've watched SS twice. Let's watch Spear Devil BR again. I don't know Iori. Iori? Yeah, I have no idea. No idea who that is. Never heard of that person. Persuade this guy just because I have some will. Yeah, so we'll see what he's using. I think that Spear Devil BR's form, from what I remember of it, its weakness is a lack of tanks. So if we saw something like God himself's form, with the Attila and the Saw main very focused on breaking the front, I feel like that could be a threat to Spear Devil BR in CL. And he would be well suited to fighting something that was either very range focused or very melee focused, because melee focused tends to be vulnerable to that kind of AP harassment. And obviously he has the general for the ranged. Saying hello, apparently they're friends. This looks like an ABFL type form from Iori, so he's probably not going to last too long here without a monk against this kind of form with so much AP pressure. Should be a fairly simple matter to keep that Patriot from being able to camaraderie, or even if it does camaraderie, he can, well, he actually doesn't have that much spread damage. But, yeah, I mean, this shouldn't be too much of a fight, just because there's no awakening over here from Iori, but you never know. It is CL, and how did we end up with so much damage on? Okay, I gotta start watching what's happening. Combo 2 on the monk over there. So one awakening this turn, then probably a freezing atmosphere, and continued spike damage over here, probably, since that's what he's going for. We saw the awakening, saw a forced prison instead of a freezing atmosphere. Yeah, save up that elementalist's AP, I guess. I would have rather had the druid guarding than the elementalist, though, because the elementalist is back here, and who cares if it's guarding. Yeah, and see, that also would have affected the Attila. Oh. Apparently we didn't see awakening. Well, you gonna stimulant that, or he could camaraderie it and be fine, because, well, no, actually, that would be problematic. Just stun going down everywhere here. Are these guys on AB? No, because stuff's guarding. And Vital Seal and Flame Sphere, that should be game. There is no reason for that not to be game, even with the stun monk. Okay, I think this guy seriously is on AB because he just skipped his 2 turns instead of passing the activations to to the front by guarding. So yeah, I think we're watching ABCL here. Alright, let's see what SS is doing. 6 Death 6 is staff main and plays kind of a weird AoE style. He's another one of the people who I've been running into as I try to get back into CL. And he's fairly good. He's given me trouble a few times. He has a strange awakening system. He doesn't have a monk. Oh, well, apparently he does have a monk. Okay. Probably getting him mixed up with someone else. But he has a weird, like, offensive focused form with a lot of AoE, and he kind of leaves his main out there on the front for bait primarily. Because he has so many ways to heal it. He can empower and control it. He can Dawn Harmony it. It itself can do Blessing of Life. So that he leaves that out there as bait more than anything else, I think. Looks like he's losing to SS. That's not too surprising. As I said, SS is probably the best on the server at CL. Or at least best performing. You know, if the big PvP people got into CL, they could probably, if not do better, at least be in the same tier. And some of them I think probably could do better, like Zoop and Eurova, but they're not going to get into CL. So SS is essentially the best on the server, and it looks like he's winning here. Same sort of situation we saw at the end of his match with Spear Devil BR, where it was fairly even, and then it just kind of degenerated into a damage race as nobody could do the kind of support moves they wanted, and SS had more damage output left, and just won from that. Yeah, but I've seen from 6 Death 6 you see a lot of use of the AoEs from the main and the Molindo, just to do a lot of raw damage, and then just like pick away at it wherever works. We see the Druid here is dead. That was probably a Dusk Elegy on this line, and then 2 AoEs, and then just some attacking on the Druid, like with maybe what's it called, General. That's probably what that was, because that's what he tends to do. 6 Death 6 is just debuff magic with the Vamp, do an AoE, and spike some weak point, which is a fine strategy, and CL works pretty well. Obviously, he's Div 1 with it. We could watch some guy fight a Doppelganger. We could watch 2 Div 3s I've never heard of. We're going to do that. Oh, there were Div 2s. Should have watched them. Oh, well. Well, what's his name is Salo SG is beating the crap out of Erzurbet, something like that. Yeah, we see such a discrepancy in the score. Obviously, you gain 100 for every kill, and 1 point for every physical attack, and 2 points for every spell. And that much of a discrepancy can't be explained away just by higher spell use. It has to be that Erzurbet lost a bunch of activations somewhere. So he was either AFK or under a lot of like seal pressure, stuff like that, AP pressure. Okay, well, everybody's dead and CL is over, so I guess we're going to stop this episode here. See you again whenever.